Crunchyroll explores shorter anime for shrinking attention spans in the TikTok generation. There's some cosmic irony in the fact that out of any anime that could be used for this article, you have Natsuki Subaru crying. And FYI, ReZero is known for having like hour-long episodes. So the fact that of all anime that could have been chosen for this article, it's ReZero, it's funny because that is the one series that actually requires an attention span, and anyone that is theoretically having a really short attention span would not be able to watch ReZero and definitely enjoy it. But anyways, that's completely not a part of this discussion. The point is that I saw this article enter my feed late last night, and when I first read this, my reaction was more or less amusement. I was amused by how something like this actually exists, and upon reading this article and figuring out like where this statement came from and all of that, it comes from two individuals. It comes from the COO, and it also comes from the president of Crunchyroll themselves. And so let's get into that. So let's just read the article and let's actually, see what is really being said here instead of just the title, to see if they're really talking about short form anime or trying to segue into more short form anime for shorter attention spans for anime watchers. Okay, so global anime streamer Crunchyroll is exploring the idea of shorter anime projects to suit the preferences of younger generations for short-form content, such as that seen on TikTok, according to a new interview. Nike interviewed Crunchyroll COO Gita and the president of Crunchyroll about the latest trends concerning the anime industry. For those that don't know what a COO is, it is this. It is a chief operating officer. You can pause the screen right now, like pause the video, and you can kind of see what they actually do. But anyways, the president and the COO operator of, Crunchyroll made a comment on this. When the pair were asked how they would believe anime will evolve in the future, the president replied with, "Most anime are 21 to 24 minutes long. Meanwhile, younger generations are used to watching short 2 to 4 minute videos, one after the other on TikTok and etc., obviously talking about YouTube Shorts. We need to think about how to tell anime stories differently than we traditionally have done. The anime ecosystem itself needs to continue to evolve." Now, more or less, I don't disagree with the fact that things need to evolve to fit with the times. There's nothing inherently wrong with that statement. It's like if a series or a company or a product lives in stagnation, eventually it will be long forgotten and people will move on to a better and shinier project. It's why, competition is very important. It's why, the whole One Piece thing I talked about a few days ago with Toei Animation doing their own version of a remake while you have, WIT doing a full-on blown East Blue remake. It leaves to friendly competition between two different, studios, and it allows them to really, not stagnate. They try to innovate and be the best they possibly can. And so in this case, the president and the COO saying that they want to basically innovate and evolve with the anime ecosystem isn't inherently a bad statement. However, it depends on what direction they want to evolve that said ecosystem if it does turn out to be bad, more or less. But anyways, let's continue reading. It's not the first time that Crunchyroll has signaled its intention to appeal to the younger generation's tendency to watch shorter content. Speaking again to Nike in August of this year, the president said, or no, not the president, actually, the CEO said the platform was exploring short-form content like anime music videos, as well as promotional content through platforms like TikTok, Crunchyroll's ex-formerly Twitter account, that has notably ramped up the posting of scenes from anime episodes, before inviting viewers to check out the series on its platform. I've also seen this on YouTube. In fact, there was a little bit of controversy with Crunchyroll yesterday, FYI. It was very small scale, nothing too massive, but there was a chunk of the ReZero community that was pretty upset with Crunchyroll's translations yesterday, and ReZero's translations have always been controversial. Like, when it comes to the light novel translations, to Crunchyroll's translations, usually there are a lot of hit and misses sometimes to where they don't accurately translate them, but that's an entirely different subject. The point of the matter is that yesterday there was a brief little scene with Subaru when Regulus was holding Amelia, and Subaru said, "Amelia is my waifu," and it's very clear that the dialogue was changed to kind of make it more modernized or, fit with, like, maybe promotional material, because once that was done, Crunchyroll, a few hours later, they uploaded that scene on their YouTube account and said, "Amelia is my waifu. ReZero Season 3. So it was very clear they did, like, an inaccurate translation to promote a certain scene on YouTube. So that was a small-scale controversy yesterday, nothing too massive. I don't think it's that important, but it does show that they are willing to change certain material to promote their said content. But anyways, let's get back into the article. Nevertheless, Crunchyroll's latest comments point towards going even further, potentially reducing the duration of some anime projects. The company, which grossed over $1 billion in 2023 from licensed goods, is far from alone in this regard. Most recently, Masayuki Ozaki, president of Bandai Namco, welcomed to Demon School Iruma-kun Gintama 2015 and present, Wistoria, left the company this month to establish the new anime studio, Cred 8. Don't know much about them. Specializing in shorter animation projects, Japan-based anime production studio Tokyo Epic announced this month that will set up an anime distribution platform and a new dedicated studio specifically for short-form content. Numerous NFT-based companies, oh, you already know this is not good when you see something like that attached. Numerous NFT-based companies such as Azuki also use short anime as a launchpad to enter the space. Azuki partnered with anime legend Goro from Code Geass, One Piece Film Red, and Junichi Yamato, why Raylana ended up at the Duke's Mansion, for an anime earlier this year. Branded content creators like Intertrend have also seen success with anime shorts for Toyota. So, to make a long story short to this whole thing, the CEO, or the president of Crunchyroll, and the COO want to shift into short-form content because the new generation of fans, the younger generation of anime fans that has jumped onto the ship since like 2019 and 2020 thanks to COVID, they have a shorter attention span. They need that constant jingling of keys every few seconds to be able to have their eyes glued onto the screen. If there isn't enough key jingling, then they're not going to watch it. And it's one of the big reasons why you see nowadays when it comes to certain anime, the anime that usually turn out to be very, very popular are those that have very shiny and flashy lights. Nothing against those series, because some of my favorite series do that, but one of the big indicators that really keep the younger generation probably on board to watch some series that is longer than 3 to 4 minutes is if they're very shiny and they're constantly wowing you with that dopamine hit of pretty colors. So all I'm saying is I do think that it makes sense why, from a business perspective, why the president and CEO would do this, but in a long-term span of time, I don't think this is good for the quality of anime. And the reason for that is because it basically, the president and the CEO has admitted that attention spans are getting shorter. That's not good. Like, legitimately, there is definitely evidence, probably some science to really study for these past few years, for the last 4 or 5 years, on just how the younger generation, their actual minds, their attention span has degraded to such a degree that they cannot sit down and watch like a 40-second video. It's just too long for them. You have people doing 1.5, 2 times speed on certain YouTube videos just to get to the good stuff of the video. People are fast-forwarding on their life, basically. That's what they're constantly doing. So there's a clear indication of some fundamental problems here. Now, I'm no doctor, no mental health doctor, anything like that, but it's very clear a lot of these companies, these studios, and everyone involved are very well aware of the shortening attention span, and these agencies as well, and they know it's potentially a problem. But instead of trying to correct the problem and helping, this new generation out to lengthen their attention spans, they're wanting to make it reinforced to make it even potentially worse. The fact that you have like a CEO and a president wanting to dive into 2 to 4 minute content, that's not going to make the situation of shorter attention spans better. That's going to make it much worse. Now, one thing I did find out while looking into this topic is that anime production is getting more and more expensive. Now, I don't know the exact raw numbers because I'm not like an insider, but if I had to take an educated guess, it's probably going through its own situation like the gaming industry and the movie industry from Hollywood. And FYI, if you want a quick rundown, basically, for the last decade, and much longer potentially than that, gaming and movies have gotten more and more expensive. As of late, one of the recent examples of this is Concord's failure. $400 million lost. Sony lost making that game, and you go back to like the early 2000s, hell, even the late 2000s, games at the most might have costed 20 million, maybe 30 million, way less than that, but nowadays games are reaching into 200 to 300 million mark, and that's a lot of money. And so when a company releases these said games, they need to, at the very least, at the bare minimum, break even with that money they invested in the product. And then if they really want to make money to be able to continue, they need to make way more than that. So like 400 to 500 million. So you get the point. As the cost of these different products get higher and higher, it gets a lot harder to potentially continuously pump them out. And in this case, anime is probably going through the exact same problem right now, with more and more productions being picked up by different companies all around the world, anime reaching a new level of global phenomenon, and so many people wanting to involve themselves in anime, different companies and stuff. It's causing the production and probably the cost of anime to go much higher. Once again, don't have a statistic, I don't have a number for this, I'm just pulling this out of my butt, but it makes logical sense economically that the prices are going up, not just with inflation, but just the demand as well. So, thinking about that, them wanting to make short-form content to cut cost, that is a better, honest statement. But, regardless if that is the true reason or not, or eventually will be the true reason, I think diving into the let's just reinforce short attention spans is not the way, it is not the answer, and it will only fundamentally degrade the quality of shows going forward. Not just for anime, but for just entertainment in general. I don't think it's a good thing to really try to reinforce stuff like this. And so seeing this article, it makes me amused. I laughed a lot at it, but I was just like, we are really cooked. I cannot wait to see, or honestly, I dread what the entertainment industry will look like, not just anime, but entertainment in general will look like in 10 years from now, judging by how we're already seeing companies outright admitting that attention spans have shortened to such a degree that they need to now shorten everything down to a considerable degree. But okay, I'll leave it at that though. Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever you live, and I love you guys. Subscribe if you enjoy my content, leave a like on the video, it goes a long way, and leave a comment as well. And with that, Chibi out.